Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a massive geopolitical shift that's crashing headfirst into a microtech solution right on the US-Canada border. We're looking at a pretty wild intersection here. International trade wars, municipal solid waste, and cutting-edge edge AI, all combining to create a brand new kind of commodity. Here is our agenda for today. We'll start with the cross-border waste crisis, move into the Section 338 tariff threat, explore the Sentient Bridge solution, break down the digital refinery workflow, and finally wrap up with why the data is actually the product. Let's get right into it. Section 1, the cross-border waste crisis. To really grasp the tech, we first need to zoom out and look at the massive physical scale of the Ontario-Michigan waste corridor. Every single year, an absolute armada of heavy transport trucks hauls 3.46 million tons of municipal solid waste, that's MSW, from Ontario right across the U.S. border. It's a staggering volume of trash moving through our logistics networks day in and out. For decades, it's honestly just been cheaper and easier for businesses in Ontario to load their commercial waste onto trucks and ship it to neighboring American states for disposal rather than processing it domestically. To put that systemic reliance into perspective, Canadian imports make up roughly 14.35% of all the trash buried in Michigan state landfills. Think about that. That's nearly 1 in 7 tons of garbage in the entire state of Michigan crossing a bridge from Canada to get there. It establishes a massive, highly precarious cross-border flow of materials that thousands of businesses absolutely depend on every single day to keep their job sites running. Section 2. The Section 338 tariff threat. Now, this established waste corridor is suddenly hitting a massive wall of regulatory friction from Washington. Looking at the year-to-date headline news, we're seeing a rapid escalation in trade policy. Specifically, the incoming Donald Trump administration in Washington is utilizing Section 338 of the Tariff Act, an older 1930 trade law, to mandate sweeping tariffs. This culminated in a 50% tariff taking effect practically overnight on August 19th. At the same time, the USMCA, or SUSMA as it's called up in Canada, has entered a pretty volatile annual review process. So, regardless of your politics, the objective market reality here is that cross-border logistics have suddenly become a severe financial risk. And here's the kicker. If the province of Ontario cannot export this waste, they hit a severe domestic capacity cliff. Without that U.S. border valve, Ontario Premier Doug Ford and the provincial government are staring down a reality where domestic landfills will be completely exhausted by roughly 2034. That's less than a decade away. Nobody wants a new megadump in their backyard, right? So the province is caught in this intense gridlock. And this macro crisis is exactly what primed the market for some serious disruption. Section 3. The Sentient Bridge solution. To survive this massive border gridlock, we have to look at a highly specific edge technology solution developed by a company called 905 Wood. Their entire operational ethos really boils down to this: chaos in, purity out. They figured out how to convert a completely chaotic, contaminated physical waste stream into a high-purity, cryptographically proven feedstock. They call this the Sentient Bridge. It's a direct, intelligent link between chaotic urban construction waste and the incredibly strict high-purity requirements of the global biocarbon market. The hardware they're using to do this is genuinely fascinating. I mean, while most of us are using a Google Pixel 11 Pro to take high-res photos of our pets, 905 Wood is operationalizing it to look at garbage. Running on the Android 17 operating system, powered by the advanced Tensor G6 silicon chip, and utilizing the LiteRT AI stack, they are pushing serious machine learning right out to the edge. They can classify waste at the actual point of collection in under half a second. It's wild. This specific sensor setup is known as the compliance gate. What it does is neutralize the severe contamination risks that usually stop construction debris from ever being reused. Traditionally, biochar producers won't even touch construction waste because it might be laced with toxic CCA chemical treatments or heavy metals. But 905 Wood's Edge AI instantly scans the stream, segregates the clean wood from the toxic stuff, and provides absolute mathematical proof of its purity. This makes the feedstock safely usable for the very first time. Section 4. The digital refinery workflow. So let's look at how this edge hardware actually integrates into a usable software product. The whole UI/UX workflow is incredibly seamless. It captures data right from the initial request for quote, the RFQ, classifies the wood using that compliance gate AI, signs it all immutably with cryptographic verification, and outputs a highly verified document pack. So before a bin is even dropped off on a site, the data generation kicks off. The wood gets screened, the digital ledger is locked tight, and a beautifully formatted PDF documentation package is generated on the output. Now, here is the absolutely crucial point. This resulting certificate of origin acts as what we can call a USMCA shield, because the AI proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that the wood is wholly obtained Canadian waste. It qualifies under a very specific trade classification, HS code 3825.0. That means it legally bypasses that new 50% tariff wall we talked about earlier. The data literally protects the physical asset as it crosses the border. Section 5. The data is the product. Ultimately, this workflow completely flips the fundamental business model of waste management on its head. We are looking at an incredible economic inversion here. Under the legacy model, a hauler's value came entirely from physically moving tons of wood around. But with the 95 wood model, the value shifts entirely to generating DMRV provenance data. That's digital measurement, reporting, and verification. By operationalizing that Google Pixel 11 Pro and LiDAR AI stack, the physical wood becomes just the vehicle used to generate the asset. The verified data itself is the highly valuable product. The wood is just how the data gets made. And this data package is exactly what gets sold to the Puro.Earth registry. Puro.Earth's document library mandates some incredibly strict transparency. Well, this DMRV provenance data, cut from 905 wood, functions as a SaaS application service that perfectly satisfies those rigorous requirements. It effectively turns a municipal waste liability into a premium ESG asset, and in doing so, it secures Ontario's industrial leadership in the Canadian circular bioeconomy. Because absolutely no other major supplier can safely screen construction debris for the Puro's registry, 905 wood has carved out a massive uncontested lane. Think about it. While other biochar suppliers are paying a premium for clean forestry or agricultural waste because they're terrified of construction wood, 905 wood unlocks it safely. They are literally getting paid by construction companies to take this waste away, screening it to high purity, and creating a new recurring supply for biochar kilns at a negative cost base. The data enables this entire economic loophole. So I want to leave you with this final thought to ponder. If the physical wood is merely how the data gets made, how do we need to rethink the true market value of our industrial waste? When AI algorithms running on smartphones can take chaotic garbage and refine it into premium, unfakeable data, what other discarded resources out there are just waiting to be mathematically refined? When a physical liability facing huge international tariffs transforms into a digital asset driving the bioeconomy, the whole concept of waste has to be redefined. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning how the systems around you really work.